moving at extraordinary speeds.
The red light suddenly made a longitudinal move at a very high rate of speed. I really didn't know what we were dealing with.
Some believe we are not alone.
I couldn't take my eyes off of these two orbs. It felt like something was watching me.
Skeptics say there's no evidence of alien life visiting Earth.
Okay, it's a UFO. It doesn't mean it's an extraterrestrial craft.
But for believers, the search continues.
We've got an object, 270 north.
Two of them in the frame at once. Holy sh**.
There are people watching the skies, searching for UFOs.
Oh, something just went by.
Fast. The project that I've engaged in is to find really high-quality telescopes and optics, really high-quality cameras.
Doug Trumbull is a man on a mission.
Covering no access.
I've actually commissioned the construction of this pan-tilt rig, which is completely automated and very precise. It's as good as NASA has for looking at space shuttle launches.
He's hunting for signs of extraterrestrial life.
I just have a very personal passion about the universe. I think it's a spectacular place, and we're seeing now that there are hundreds of billions of galaxies out there. It seems to me that the likelihood of life in the universe is really high, and we just need to find out what's going on out there.
He wants to get the shot that proves there's alien life out there.
Okay, now it's back.
Some say we already have the proof. In Brazil, in Mexico, and in the Middle East. There are sightings across the world.
Looks like it's clear after the coast. It's right on the horizon.
And with the dawn of modern technology, people are now able to capture their UFO encounters on video.
March 13th, 1997 was a beautiful, quiet evening. My husband and I were in bed reading. One wall of our bedroom is a window, so whatever pops up out there, we see. And both my husband and I saw it simultaneously through our sliding glass window. And I have to say that when these orbs, which are huge, pop up, you notice them.
Dr. Lynn Kitai witnessed what would become known as the Phoenix Lights.
The Phoenix Lights was a spectacular series of UFO sightings.
It's one of the most well-documented UFO sightings ever. According to Nick Pope, a former British Defense Ministry UFO investigator, there were two different sightings.
The first block of sightings took place at around about 8 o'clock in the evening and involved the apparent sighting of a large delta-shaped object. People were seeing lights in a V-shaped formation.
Over a number of hours, people as far as 500 kilometers away from each other described seeing a formation of lights roughly 1.5 kilometers wide moving south. One of those people is then governor of the state of Arizona, Fife Symington.
There were these reports coming in about lights over Phoenix, these sightings, and it was about around 8 o'clock at night.
Symington originally dismisses claims that the lights could be a UFO. But years later, he publicly reveals that he too was baffled by the reports and actually went out that night to get a closer look.
All of a sudden, I looked up and this enormous craft just came sort of cruising silently over us. It's like an apparition. It was really quite something. I've never seen anything like it, never. It just took your breath away. I mean, you see something like that and you know you're dealing with something that is completely out of the ordinary and foreign. I was in awe.
The media reports that hundreds, perhaps thousands of people witnessed the event.
At around 10 o'clock, there was another wave of UFO sightings, and these seemed to involve more individual lights.
Like many Phoenix residents, Dr. Lynn Kitai is captivated by the series of unusual lights.
I jumped up, put on my robe, grabbed my camera, tried to get out on the balcony and focus the camera. By the time I looked up, the 6 had turned into 3. It almost looked like they were 3 endpoints of a V or a triangle, and I started videotaping immediately.
While witness reports of the formation and number of lights vary, Kitai captures 18 seconds of the lights on videotape.
These lights were either attached to something or were actually individual orbs, giant balls of light that had a field in between, a force field in between, keeping them in rock-solid formation. That was which was so unusual. It was uncanny. I immediately stepped out on the balcony and noticed an eerie silence, as if time had stopped. I couldn't take my eyes off these 2 orbs, and as intently as I was watching these orbs, it felt like something was watching me.
I was in awe, and I was surprised. I felt sort of very insignificant, and so I knew I was in the presence of something very unusual. There was a lot of hysteria about it. Really, it was quite something.
The public wants answers, and authorities investigate.
The military announced that they found a solution, that there was a military exercise on the night in question, and flares were dropped from A-10 aircraft, and that's what people saw.
But not everyone buys the military's response.
They said it was the A-10s out of Luke Air Force Base.
Most eyewitnesses claim the lights moved silently.
There was no way it was A-10s. The A-10 was a noisy, tank-killing aircraft. The Warthog is its name.
Critics say the planes weren't close enough to be heard. UFO believers argue that sound or no sound, flares can't explain the delta-shaped object that many witnesses described.
You're trying to tell me that flares that cannot keep a formation for more than a couple of seconds traverse the entire state in a mile-wide, equidistant, rock-solid V formation for hours?
Unidentified flying objects is kind of a grab bag of all kinds of different things that people see in the sky.
Astrophysicist Sten Odenwald says without sophisticated equipment, it's incredibly difficult to identify objects in the night sky.
Do you really know all the things that the military is putting into the sky? Do you really understand astronomy well enough that you can recognize whether it's a planet or a flying saucer? And that's where we get into the issue of defining what the phenomenon is.
Skeptics like science writer Dr. Michael Shermer say the military's explanation for the Phoenix lights is clear and simple.
There were 2 incidences that were about 45 minutes to an hour apart. The first one were some fighter jets. The second one were the flares. So the first one got reported, then the 2 got conflated.
But others remain unconvinced.
I don't think any of the initial sightings that occurred closer to 8 o'clock can be explained as military flares.
To this day, nobody's been given a satisfactory explanation.
Skeptics argue that photographic evidence doesn't provide real proof.
We get dozens every year of UFO photographs to look at, and they're always blurry, blurry photographs, grainy videos, shadows, lights, things that could be something else. It's never really definitive, and that's the problem. That evidence is always so thin, it's just not quite there.
To highlight how simple it can be to create fake UFO images, Shermer sets up a basic demonstration.
We staged a how to fake your own UFO. We just wanted to do it with simple toys. You don't know what you saw. The human perceptual system is not reliable. Oh, wow. That's why we try to do things like this, to show how easy it is to be fooled. The fake photos that we did have no help from digital computing. It's just all mechanical. You can do it very simply. It doesn't take any sophisticated equipment at all. If it can be done that simply, then we really can't trust people's UFO photographs. Even the experts can't tell. 1, 2, 3. Therein lies the problem. You can't rely on photographs.
On the east coast of the USA, UFO hunter Doug Trumbull is determined to capture real photographic evidence of UFOs.
I see a huge culture of fake UFO sightings, that people are really having fun with their handy cams and their laptops and their compositing software. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of fake UFO sightings online that you can look at that are interesting and kind of exciting and scary. Almost all of them are fake.
Trumbull is a Hollywood special effects expert, inventor, and filmmaker. He's spent his career creating illusions for some of the most famous science fiction movies in history.
I think I'm best known by the public for my visual effects work. 2001: A Space Odyssey, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Blade Runner. You know, having been involved in a lot of movies about alien contact. And kind of wondering to myself, was there anything to it? Just kind of blew my mind to actually think about it from that standpoint and say, well, maybe this isn't fictional. Maybe this isn't mythology.
Now he wants to use his expertise to provide hard evidence about the existence of UFOs.
I decided, well, you know, I actually have skills at photography and special technologies that are what I do my work with, that it seemed natural to explore the possibility of actually photographing UFOs in a way that would be scientifically valid.
Trumbull is developing a high-tech research project that he hopes will allow him to track and monitor possible UFO activity.
Has anybody really built sophisticated photogrammetric, spectrographic equipment to photograph UFOs or whatever is in the sky? And the answer was no.
By using the best cameras and lenses money can buy, Trumbull hopes to gather irrefutable evidence that something is out there.
I wanted to get some scientifically valid data that really could be evaluated, that wouldn't be anecdotal or wouldn't be a story or wouldn't be somebody's, you know, cell phone photograph.
Now he and his team are preparing to launch an expedition to try and answer one of the ultimate questions. Are we alone?
I just believe that it's worth pursuing. I think putting a little energy into that with the skills that I have, a project like this, is really worth our time because it's the biggest story that will ever be told. Human contact with other civilizations is the biggest story. And I'd like it to be told in my lifetime.
The story that motivates many to hunt for UFOs has its roots in the American Southwest, near a small New Mexico town called Roswell.
Roswell is, without doubt, the most famous UFO incident anywhere in the world.
The question is,